Hello, Sunshine.
Hello, little Miss
How are you?
Sunshine. How are you?
Good. You?
Yeah, you good?
We're good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good. How about me?
Yep, you sound good. I noticed we have the same colors on and we didn't even plan that.
We didn't even plan that. No. Huh, Tom. Hi,
Mom
guys.
got a new rescue puppy yesterday.
Yes, he did. And I am so in love with all the pictures
I know.
that he's posting because I know how hard that is. And you know how hard that is to lose an animal that you have loved and cared for and that's cared for you for such a long time. And so I am always very it always warms my heart to see people like you did and like Tom bring another dog into your home and give them the love and the family that you had given your, the dog that had crossed the rainbow bridge. So I'm so thrilled, and I'm always like squealing with joy every time Tom posts a new picture. And
I know, it's like
she's just the cutest thing in the whole world. Yeah, so cute.
I agree.
So cute.
Hi, Melissa. So we're
Hi,
back.
guys. Mary Beth, Melissa, Jonathan. Hello, everybody.
Hello. We're back. It feels like it's been
We're
forever.
back. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Hoping everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes. Is everybody I'm gonna turn that ringer off. Has everybody gotten I see you have your Christmas tree up.
I had to have it before it started snowing.
How much snow have you gotten since you got home from work?
Not much, but we only thought we were gonna get like 1 or 3 inches last night. We woke up to almost 6 this morning on top of the 5 or 6 that's already down. So
yikes.
But I'm just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like everybody else is like, I hate this shit,
Right. I wonder how long it'll be before you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah, people keep telling me wait till January or February. So maybe January or February. I don't know. We'll see. But I think the hardest thing to get used to is, in Florida, I just threw on a pair of flip-flops to take the dog out. And now it's like you got to put the jacket on and the boots and the gloves and the hat, zip everything up. And it's a whole thing. And today's one of those days where he just will not do his business. So we've been out like 5 times. And I'm finally like, okay, dude, like now it's showtime. Sorry for your luck,
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
That's how it was when I moved to Pittsburgh. I moved there in September, and then come January, February, that got really, really old, having to like go out and start the car and turn the heater on just so that I could scrape the window. Like that got really, really old. Really, really quick. And then I moved back to Phoenix by June. So I was there September to June. I was like, thanks.
Well, fortunately under here is a 3-car garage. Technically it's a huge, because it's an old hay barn from the 1800s. It's been converted over the years, and they just converted this space, but downstairs is a garage. So I haven't had a garage. I was telling Jen and Corey, I haven't had parked in a garage. Oh my God. 25 years probably.
It's the little things, right?
It is. And so so I don't have to scrape the windows. I learned that you're supposed to put your windshield wipers straight up, like if it's snowing. I've learned a lot. I can light the kerosene heater.
Those are little tips and tricks that I'm like,
Thank God I live with Mainers. I would have died already. I would have been eaten by coyotes. I would have bought the wrong clothes. I would have froze to death. So
for sure.
Shout out to behind.
Yes. So
what else have we got? Are we going straight into it?
Yeah, looks like we had a couple of birthdays while we've been gone. Mary Beth, Jonathan, happy belated birthday, guys.
Yep. Happy belated birthday.
Yes. Yep. What do we have? So we have this week, and then we are back on the 12th next week. Wait.
No, I think Cody and Satori are next week.
Are they next? Did we flip around?
I think we just flipped. I think it got all squirrely because they had
those kids come in and jack us.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to send a strongly worded text to follow.
Strongly worded text.
Sorry, it just came out. But anyway, so we were talking about. Sorry, not sorry. I said what I said.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier in the week. Thanksgiving, we're getting into holiday season.
Mhm.
So we thought now would be a good kind of discussion for around gratitude, but we don't want to do, in typical us fashion, the rainbows and unicorn gratitude. Like, we want to get into the nitty gritty of how when your life is falling apart or shit's just going wrong all over the place,
Yeah,
practicing gratitude in those moments is hard, but also can
it
change
is.
your
Yeah.
life. So we wanted to kind of take a different perspective on gratitude, I think, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I was talking to Zach about it earlier, and which hi, sweetie. Um, it
Listen. Okay.
that was
Knowing
the funniest thing. My mom and I were howling.
I was in tears. Knowing all three of those people now, I was crying when I'm like texting Satori. I've got tears streaming down my face as Cody's like falling over the table. I haven't laughed that hard
I
since
know,
New
right?
Jersey with
It
Ryan
was
and Rochelle. That was great.
it
Oh
was
God,
a lot of
crying
fun.
funny.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was a good time.
It
I've
was
seen
great.
that done on
Yeah,
TikTok. It was hysterical. Um, so yeah, we
it
did
was
want to
great.
talk about gratitude. And I think when Zach and I were talking about it earlier, gratitude is something that, like, if you were to ask your friends, your family, the folks here that are watching tonight, if you were to ask, are you grateful for the things that you have in your life and the people that you have in the life that you have? Everybody is. Everybody, I mean, most
Right.
everybody is grateful for the things that they
Grateful to
have.
some degree.
Exactly. But it is very
Yeah.
difficult to, I don't want to say stay grateful, but to be present in gratitude every day. That's
Yeah.
something that's very difficult, especially if you're going through difficult times. If you're struggling
Yep.
either with your job or with finances or with your family or whatever it is that you may be struggling with in your life at the moment, it's actually kind of hard to find things that you're grateful for every day. And you're certainly, at least me, I'm not, when I'm going through hard times, I'm not able to really pull out things that I'm truly grateful for. Obviously, I'm grateful that, my son I have my son and he's healthy and I have a roof over my head, those kinds of things, which I guess, I don't want to say that that's like canned gratitude.
Right.
Because surely most of us, everybody that has a home is grateful that we have a roof over our heads. But
Right.
to be present in that gratitude every day is difficult, even when things are,
Yeah.
going your way.
Even they're great.
Yeah, even when things are
100%
going great. So Erin, what are some things that you find you struggle with gratitude, either on a daily basis or just, when you're going through hard times or anything like that? What are some of the things you find you struggle with gratitude?
I think when I first started kind of getting into practicing gratitude or being cognizant of doing this a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
it was difficult to shift it, like you said, outside of the normal things. I'm grateful for my um house, my family, my hey mom, that's my mama. And that's little Elliot, a little brown dog. But I think trying to make it almost kind of becomes sort of almost like a lifestyle, as stupid as that sounds. But at first it was like I was just constantly grateful for the same things, right? But then as I started diving deeper into the spiritual side of it,
Yeah.
started being more cognizant of thanking the universe or whatever for whatever that is for you, God, universe,
Sure.
Allah, Buddha, whatever, doesn't matter.
Right.
Um, for the little stuff, like this morning's a prime example. We'll get into my life imploding shortly, but that's part of the reason we wanted to get into this.
Okay.
Like this morning, I get in my car, right? And it's my first time driving in snow, like real snow.
Yeah.
And I've got to go to a ski resort, right? Because I work at a ski resort now at Sunday River. And I, got there and sat in my car for a minute and just thanked the universe for getting me there safely. Like just
little things.
I was
like
starting
that, yeah.
to make sure to thank the universe for smaller things, little
Right.
things that don't necessarily matter on a scale, but like
But
are
they
still
do.
important to acknowledge.
Right. Yeah. Little thing. Nothing is a little thing, I don't think. Especially getting you to work safely in that snow when you're not like that's a big little thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't let a Floridian loose on the main roads.
Dude, you
But here we
don't do that with an Arizona desert rat either.
Also true. But I think it's one of those, you have to make, it's like anything else with this stuff. Like you have to make it a practice. You have to, make it a priority. And I think in doing that, let's just get right into my life imploding, and then we'll see how far you want to go down that rabbit hole. I won't take too much time, but if I look at just this year.
Yeah.
But let's take this year
the
out
last
for
6 months of this year for you.
Last 6 months. But I think that, the 3 or 4 years prior to that, because I was already in a state of being present, because I do think you hit the nail on the head. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Of when things are really good, things are going the right way. Always like I've just gotten into this practice of like, thanking the universe for this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And really being present with it. I think that's the most important part, because if I'm present with it, I don't have the time to look backwards. I don't have the time to look forwards. I'm just in it. Right.
Yeah.
But I knew it wouldn't last forever. Right. Like you can't have, my life's been nuts the last 3 years, really. Once I met Andrea, I still blame Andrea for all of this.
Me too.
Then you start getting into fall of last year where things started getting squirrely at the farm.
Yeah.
So we were handling that very much privately, out of the public eye, out of respect for our former employer, the house, the guests, so we handled everything, the business end of everything for 6 months. And then when we finally had enough and quit in May, I walked out of my dream job.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily mean the caretaker side of being on the property. It was getting to be an administrative assistant in my pajamas in my own house with a cup of coffee.
Right.
Helping people with a house that I happen to be passionate about. So that was hit number one. And the drama around it, that's its own living, breathing thing that's been very difficult to deal with. Yep, that's a fact, Tom.
Yep.
And then Miss Carolyn died.
Yeah.
Now, there's not a lot of people who got to know Carolyn, but because my family's from Atlanta, we were only about an hour from Miss Chris, Miss Andrea, and Miss Carolyn. I got to spend a lot of time with Miss Carolyn. My grandparents died when I was young, so we got very close. So anyway, there was that.
Yeah.
And then Andrea's diagnosis.
Yeah.
Right. And, she's kind of become like a second mom, very much a mentor. And then obviously Justin and I decided to split up. And then I'm like, fuck it, let's just move to Maine. So it's like my whole life imploded this year.
Yeah.
But because I've been practicing gratitude for enough years, my friends will call and check on me. And even Satori, she's like, are you going to like call and cry
Freak
about
out.
this? But and maybe that'll come. I don't know. I kind of keep waiting for the emotional hit to hit. But I think also because I see the silver linings in all of it, like the job.
Yeah.
Got us out of a dangerous situation, right? Took us longer than it should have, but we did everything we could. It got me out of a dangerous situation with a dangerous person. Miss Carolyn had been sick for a long time.
Yeah.
Andrea's doing great, right? I mean, amazing PET scan. So, and then with the divorce, Justin and I are still friends. He was texting me right before we hopped on about his Christmas candle he got. It's like a, Christmas tree. But
yeah.
Now in New England with I start calling them my family, right? Because the Conjuring House crew, because of everything we've been through, we're tighter than ever.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Bad shit happened. However, I've always been able to see, lose the job, but gain an amazing group of lifelong friends, lose the marriage, move to a place you've been wanting to live. Like there's always a silver lining and there's always balance in all things. So I think a lot of me was I made a choice to focus on the better stuff. And I'm dealing with the fallout of the other stuff. If I'm going to cry in the car because there's a song on, I'm going to cry in the car. It's fine. I'm not avoiding it. But my energy is different now. Like gratitude has literally, that's my go-to now. But it took a while to get there, if that makes it's a long answer.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
True.
that's what we were saying before the show started, was that it was pretty much
Waste of
the
time.
same thing she had been spouting on a Facebook post. She was just saying it on the news. Big deal. There wasn't brand new information to be heard. And I think that's where, like you said, you've been doing this for a few years now, because it is very difficult to, just like with everything that we are talking to you guys about with every episode, it's a practice, and it's something that you really do have to work at. And I mean, we're throwing like so much stuff at them, like, hey, this is what you're going to do this week. We're going to try to meditate. We're going to try to this. We're going to try to manifest. We're going to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but it all is part and parcel with, wanting to kind of live, for me anyway, a much more authentic life. And one that is driven as much as I possibly can drive it from soul.
Yeah.
And not from ego.
Right.
Especially if you live in ego, like I used to.
Me too.
All the time. Yeah, you're grateful for stuff. But I think that a lot of the things I was grateful for, while I meant it, was just sort of like canned gratitude. You know, I'm grateful I have a car. I'm grateful my family's healthy. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. But it was just like that, you know, where ego is very hard to deal with. My ego, that bitch I had to put in a cage.
Well, and let's also disclaim too, we still have egos. We still deal with ego. I mean,
we need ego.
You have to have it, right?
You have to
And
have
it's
ego.
just acknowledging different sides of it, different aspects of it that maybe don't serve you right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, and it was probably right around the same time that that you had probably started your journey. Mine was about 5 years ago. We were living in an apartment in Central Phoenix. We had left Tempe to move to a more affordable place, and we hated it. It was cramped. It was in a crappy part of town, and I wanted to buy a house, and my credit was 480, and I'm like, I worked for a mortgage company, and I'm like, I ain't buying a house. That's not happening. But up until that point, with most of my life, like I said, I had really lived. Yeah. See, I mean, and yeah, ego does take too much energy to deal with. I had, for most of my life, lived solely from ego. And so I was real quick to anger. Boy, did I have a mouth. I mean, I still have a mouth, but I very rarely let it fly. Erin has heard it when we were talking about certain people that were on the news, but she's heard my mouth. But I very rarely like let that out in anymore. But there was a situation where I had reconnected with a friend from grade school, and we hadn't talked in like 30 years, and we reconnected, and, you know, he was married and had the cutest little girl, and, you know, he came to Phoenix to visit for work or whatever, and we hung out, and it was like not a day had gone by, and he was very, very important to me. And we were, I mean, he very quickly became one of my best friends, just like Jennifer. And we laughed about everything. It was a really fun friendship, but I was a hothead, like I'd always been. And, you know, Jennifer's 40 years. She's used to that from me. She just is used to that. I've been a hothead since we met at 8 years old. But he was like, Carrie, you need to calm down. Like, why are you getting so mad about this, that, or the other thing? And like, he would joke when I would be trying to be serious, and then that
Yeah.
would piss me off. And it ended up being a thing where he got tired of it. For, we were friends for 4 years, and he was just like, you know what? I am sick of dealing with this from you.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah. 100%.
And I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
And it completely destroyed me because I was that was me that did that.
Mm-hmm.
That was my hot-headedness. That was my quick to anger. That was my mouth. That was my, very little taking responsibility for anything. And it utterly destroyed me.
Yeah.
And that year, we ended up being really busy at work. I started making a lot of really good money. I got a promotion, was able to pay off my debt, save money for a down payment. I took my credit score from 480 to 650 in 9 months and was able to get this house. And so we packed up and we moved to North Carolina. And then just from that kind of point on, I was very mindful about, like I said in the beginning of this, of when we started doing this series, you feel when you make a decision, you have a reaction, you feel it from soul or you feel it from ego. And I started making sure I listened to what it was coming from here and less from here. And I started making better decisions. I started being
finding
more
that space. It's finding that space between
it is. And
reacting from ego. Yeah. You take it that
yes.
That time is there's that space where you get to choose
exactly
how you're going to react. Yeah.
You get to choose how you're going to react. And from that space coming from soul, you pause, you kind of calm down and you look around and you find the things that you're grateful for that are more than just a roof over your head. Exactly. Are more than just a car to drive or a job, or you start to find things, small things like, meeting new friends, meeting people at a public ghost hunt at Trans-Allegheny who everybody got on like a house on fire. And now these people are some of my best friends that I've ever met. And so you start to look at gratitude in a different way. Yeah. But that it is also something that does take time. It takes practice too, I think.
I completely agree. And I also think too, I also finally, because I started my journey with all this stuff at probably around the same time as you. So like summer 2019 was when I first kind of fell into that. I think along the way, more than anything else, and my mom will probably laugh when I say this, is I finally, because my mom we grew up Catholic. My parents aren't like, we went to Catholic school because the public school system in Atlanta at the time was garbage. It's probably still not a lot better. But my mom always had a very strong faith. So, anytime she was having trials and tribulations, she used to just say, turn it over to God.
Yeah.
But I understand that now, but I assign it more as universe. So I think for me, the biggest thing I've learned in this gratitude process is that I finally actually believe that there is something bigger looking out for me.
Yeah.
But I have to get past my ego to be able to trust that.
That was another hard thing. I still struggle with that though, too. Because there's a lot of me that, if I don't feel like I have complete control over every single thing in my life, I'm a wreck. I feel like I sort of developed that sort of like OCD kind of mentality over the last few years. That was something that was kind of added when the whole soul thing took over. It's been very weird. There's new good and bad things, but for me, it comes from a place of just needing to make sure that my mother is taken care of, my son is taken care of, my animals are taken care of, my friendships and my family is taken care of, and all of my, that this show is good, that you and I are reaching people in an important way, and we are, and so I'm grateful. You guys, have no idea how Erin and I read these comments and the things on the Facebook group and the feedback that we get from you guys,
Yeah.
how grateful we are
Yeah.
that we were given this opportunity by Dead Air to have this show when it happened, because we had talked about for like a year that we wanted to do something sort of like this, but we weren't really sure how. And so we just kind of set it aside, knowing full well it would just come to fruition the way it was meant to.
And it did.
And it did. And this is something that we are so grateful and proud of.
Yeah.
And the interaction we get from you guys every single episode, we are so grateful for this and for all of you. It just,
that's part of gratitude too, is I think when you talked about this before, when you kind of go down this sort of train path, journey, shitstorm, train wreck,
whatever. Yeah. It's not always going to be smooth sailing.
No, it's usually not. But I think on the flip side is you get to, one, like you said, make a decision on how you're going to react to things. But like, we owe it to, like, everybody's had a mentor, whether it's a spiritual mentor or somebody, you know, like I got a lot of mentors in this field. I mean, Ken's one, you're one. I mean, I get to learn from some really, really incredible people. And I learn a lot from people that watch the show. I mean, I get hints and tips from people about candle magic. And so we are still learning ourselves, but I think it's our duty to some degree that if we've taken the time to kind of run down this rabbit hole, you get to a point where it's your turn to pay it forward. Right? Like, so I think that's another way of sort of practicing gratitude is trying to at least give it back. And I think for us, it's important because I think a lot of times, like we've discussed on the internet, especially on social media, everything's glossed up. Everybody's got 47 layers of filters.
Yeah.
If you do a filter, that's fine. I'm just at the age where I just don't give a shit and I don't own any makeup, nor do I care. But I want to give it back to people the way I received it. Like, which it was messy. It was, you know what I mean? Like the process is messy. The whole thing is messy. And so it's like, I would rather give, which is why I'm so grateful for this, is that we've been given the chance to do this our way. Not some polished, gussied up version of what we think it should be. We're just trying to give it straight based off what we've dealt with and what we've seen our friends go through and family.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd rather just give it an accurate description. Exactly. You remember, you do. People make a huge impression on you. And I think it's so important to stay in a headspace of learning too, because you know, we're not going to learn it all. We're never going to figure all this shit out. If we figure all this stuff out about any of this, and we're all going to need new things to do. But I think
how boring would that be if we were like, well, I learned it all.
Now what? I'm going to go underwater basket weave or whatever. But I think part of gratitude for me is turned into how can I pay it forward, but how can I also still be open and learning? Right? Like I think because it's not just thanking the universe or whatever for your dog or your house. I mean, that all is important too, however, but like you said, it gets to a deeper sort of different meaning. And it does sort of become, and I hate to use the word lifestyle because I hate that word, but it's the only one I can really think of because it becomes so ingrained in who you are as a person.
Yeah. And I think,
a whole lot of
you know, the other thing because I've been thinking about this topic and stuff since, for the last couple of days, since we decided we wanted to talk about gratitude, that if you, how do I want to say this, that your, if people are like, yeah, well, you have a roof over your head, or you have you have a car, you have a good job, you have, this, that, and the other, you should be so grateful for these things.
Right.
That's not to say that you're not grateful for these things, and that it's like people that have, my grandmother always said, and it's something that my mom and I to this day still live by. She always said that you don't ever have to look very far to find somebody worse off than you.
Right.
And that's very true. Certainly there have been a number of times where we have been at rock bottom. Like ever since Coy and I got laid off from our mortgage jobs 2 years ago, you know how many times my car's been out for a repo? Like 9. Or how many times the mortgage company was like, hey, we might have to put you into foreclosure on this beautiful house that you own. So let's work out something and get this, that, or the other thing done. So, but then I would always hear about somebody that, you know, their car was totaled, or they, you know, something else would have happened to somebody. Somebody got evicted from their apartment or somebody. And it's important that when you are struggling and people think that you're not grateful enough for what you do have, that shouldn't belittle your struggles. Your struggles and what you're going through are 1,000% valid.
Yeah.
But it's not also to say that, you know, with my grandmother saying you don't have to look far to find somebody worse off than you. Again, it's not to say what you're going through doesn't matter. There's always going to be somebody who's worse off than you. There are people that don't have any money at all. There are domestic abuse survivors who are living in shelters. There are people that are homeless. Like, but that doesn't mean that what is happening in your life means nothing, because somebody is always going to have things worse than you. You're going to have things worse than somebody else. Like that doesn't devalue what you're going through and what you're experiencing. I think the shift is to try to, because it's very easy to give up when things are really, really low. It's very, very easy to give up. I think the shift is to just find one tiny little thing that you're grateful for. If you can find 3 a day, if you can find 5, great. If you can only find 1, great. Be that you woke up today. You did your best. At the end of the day, you did your best. Be grateful for that. Little tiny things. But try to find at least 1. At least 1.
Yeah.
Especially at this time of year. The holidays are hard for a lot of people.
That they are.
They're hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's always a battle. I think you're right. Like, especially in a society like where I think that is very much the case. Oh, well, it could be worse, or, you know, they're starving kids in China. Like what an interesting thing here. So I think too, for a lot of people, they start swallowing what they're going through, or like, I know for me, I always play it off like it's not a big deal. I can laugh my way. I always jokingly say my biggest redeeming quality is my ability at self-deprecating humor, right? Because I deal with shit. You know, but again, it's like, I think there's so much opportunity for growth when it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yes, that's true. That's true.
But it's not something like you said earlier. It's a practice, and it's not like you just now, if this is clicking to people or if it's resonating with you and you wake up tomorrow and you're like, that makes sense. You still have to put in all the time to make it a thing. It's not like once you learn it and your brain goes, aha, great idea. It's not like it's you have to like ingrain it into your system, just like anything else, is how I look at it. You know,
you really do. The other thing with gratitude is, what was it? 3 episodes ago, we talked about manifestation and, gratitude. It is or lack of gratitude can derail the things that you're working hard to manifest. Thoughts are things. That's something that we have said 1,000 times. We're going to say it 1,000 more. Thoughts are absolutely things.
It's energy.
Remember, we talked about that reticular activating system that is part of your brain. That's the thing that it only shows your brain, because you cannot possibly process all the bazillion things of information that we come in contact with every day. So your brain is going to hang on to the things that you tell it are important.
Bingo.
Remember? We talked about that.
So sure did.
It's getting into a habit of just mentioning even one thing a day that you were grateful for that day.
Yeah.
That is going to train your brain to seek out other things that you're grateful for.
Right.
And you'll notice a shift in your emotional health, in your mental well-being, even when things are absolutely going bananas in your life.
Yeah.
It's very hard. I know that it's very hard to hang in there, especially when you feel like you have nothing,
Right.
even maybe to live for. People are not understanding you. People are criticizing you. You know what? That's on them.
Right.
You be grateful for you and who
Mhm.
you are and what you're going through, and that you just did your best that day.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's, if all
that's
you did
it.
was roll off the couch and brush your teeth, or even if you just rolled off the couch or whatever it is, that's
Absolutely.
all you can do in a day. And we live in a world where
Yeah.
it, you have 100% of energy in a day, but you go to work and you're expected to expend 130% of that energy in a day.
Yeah.
You don't have energy for anything else. So
Mm-mm.
I think you also become more selective with
Yeah.
where you're spending your energy. Like I know for me, like you were saying, you were a hothead. I also have that to some degree. Obviously, much worse when I was drinking. I wasn't an angry drunk, but I could get hot pretty quick. But
Yeah.
I think I learned I once you start this process, it's a practice, but you're literally rewiring your brain as you're doing this stuff.
You are.
And that
Yeah.
also ties into our discussion about giving yourself grace.
hmm
Because again, this is
That is,
all a
you should give
process.
yourself grace before and you give anybody else grace.
Anyone
Give
else,
yourself
100% agree.
the kind of grace that you are so willingly give to other people.
Right.
I don't think many of us do that enough for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say go out and be an asshole and be like, hey, listen, they had it coming. I'm going to give myself grace with that one. No.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody is
That's a
perfect.
different show.
Nobody's gonna get the job done right 100% of the time. It's just but I think to start with gratitude, it is very hard to do. It is very hard to do. Because most people, you're your own worst critic,
For sure.
everybody, we all know we need work, right? We're just not sure where to start with the work. But one little thing at a time. And Joseph said something, I've heard practicing meditation and gratitude at the same time helps. Try that. I don't see why that wouldn't help at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would sounds perfect.
Again, and there's no rules. I mean, if that,
There's no
I
rules.
think
No.
that's probably,
No.
thinking about it, probably a pretty good natural byproduct because, by meditating, you're giving yourself permission to sort of, the more you do it, slow down
Yeah.
your brain. And so it would make sense that you might automatically sort of shift into gratitude as you're sort of navigating meditation.
Yeah.
Really,
I like
that
that whole concept.
I do too.
I think like little things like the other day. So here's something stupid about me. Yes, I can forgive so many people, but myself is the hardest too. That's accurate. Yeah, same. I love to make eggs over easy, but I always break the yolk. Always. So the other day I'm making the egg, and when I flip it and I don't break the yolk, I'm so happy. I'm like, yay, thank you. I'm
Right?
grateful I didn't break the yolk. So start with like little silly things
Right.
like that if you want to.
And that's true. I mean, I think, and I think we talked about this in the manifesting episode too. You can manifest anything, including a parking space in the front. My mom's so funny, and she's done this since I was a kid. She'd get like a super close parking spot, and her response would always be, "Must be living right," But you can
I
ask the
do the same thing. Oh,
universe.
thank you, universe. Yeah.
Right. But I think it's, the more you're establishing that connection to the universe, it does start at the little stuff. I mean, when I started working with clients and I was doing, Reiki with clients, I would say, I want you to make 2 lists. The first list, come up with 5 things, exactly what you said, that are good in your day. Doesn't matter how small. And if you can't find 5, that's fine. 1's good. but do it every day, because again,
Habit.
you're making a habit. You are literally changing the makeup of the chemical makeup of your brain.
Yep.
And that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I'm 45, almost 46 now. I didn't get into this shit till I was 40. I mean, better late than never, but
true. Same.
When but you're trying to retrain your brain to do something different than it's done for the prior X amount of years before you started learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
And people forget that. So I think a lot of people, when they get into this stuff, they give up quickly because they've sort of like seen the light and they're like, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you have to actually make it part of who you are. And the only way you can do that is practice. So that's one thing I always said with clients: start with a list, whether it's 1 or 5, whatever it is, of something little.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I had a Band-Aid on and it didn't rip all the hair off. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
It could be literally, it didn't leave that crappy glue on my skin. Yeah. It can literally be anything.
Like right now, Bernie hasn't freaked out yet. I'm grateful for that. It's little, but it's rare. Take it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Actually, what's funny is if I complain a lot about something, I need the universe eventually gives it. Do they give it exactly the way you want it, or do they tweak it a little? Because the universe has never done that for me. And the universe is generally like, how about I give it to you, but in a different way? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really what you wanted, but it's sort of like it. But I'm happy to be able to give my new dog a happy home after that. Oh, yes. Oh, see.
It's the little stuff like that.
Satori, we were talking about, I don't know if you've been here the whole time, but we were all just laughing about your water bottle thing.
Can't. You know, now the next time I see them, I'm going to request that we all play this game.
You absolutely must. It was the absolute best. Even my mom was like,
oh God.
Oh my God. And she's like, poor Cody, he keeps getting hit with it. I'm like,
nailed.
I know. I'm like, are they purposely doing this? It was a lot of fun. You guys, that was wonderful. That was something I was grateful for yesterday. Was watching that for sure.
Little laughs like that.
Yes.
I sign myself up for a version of this game. So if we can get the entire former staff together at some sort of Conjuring House recovery weekend, then I think that has to be high up on the list of games.
Oh God, yes, please, 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 please.
And we'll film it.
Absolutely.
Maybe
there are so many TikTok challenges that would be so much fun for you guys to try and do. We forgot the rules pretty early on. God, it looked like that water bottle really hurt. Like Cody, when it hit her face, I was like, oh my God.
He just kept getting nailed. And then he falls onto the table.
And then he fell on the table. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, just move. And then
it was
nailed.
Yeah, so that was the thing. I was grateful for that because man, that was some fun laughs. Cody was stupid. Cody's probably like, I'm not playing it again.
He's like, I hate this show. I quit.
Oh, yeah, Carrie answered your question above on the universe. Let's see here.
Like when my mother and I's car went bad, I wanted a new car, but the universe gave me a used old car for now.
Hey, yeah, see, something like that gives you what you want, but it's tweaks it. What happened here?
I don't know. Poland spring water popped up.
Poland spring water. Okay,
I wasn't in charge of that one. It's delicious, and I've been to Poland, Maine. I didn't know Poland Springs was out of Maine. It is, in fact.
Oh, really?
I think Jonathan makes a good point in that you don't always get it the way you want it. Like I knew the minute I walked onto that property in New England, in Rhode Island, that I wanted to live in New England. I fell in love with New England like that.
Yeah.
I knew I was in trouble. And I even got to the point where I would like jokingly say, like, if my husband ever, if we ever decide to split up, then I'll just go be a witch with my little dog in the woods.
With your little dog out in the forest of
lots of things, right? As we get there. Oh, PTSD from the water bottle. Okay, makes sense now. Sorry, Ken, I'm a little slow.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I think it was at the expense of, your new life is going to cost you your old one. I think that's very much true. And while I get to live in New England and it's amazing and I love it, I lost a lot. But I also think, okay, well, again, the universe needed me to make a move that I clearly wasn't going to make on my own. So the universe just flicked me right off the edge. And
Yes.
I still got what I wanted. I'm still very good friends with my ex-husband, but I'm okay with that because while it, I wasn't complaining. I did want to live up here. I just didn't really think it would actually happen, and B, I knew what I would be giving up.
Yes, there was
You know
a
what I mean?
sacrifice that you knew. That you knew. Let's just say the universe hasn't decided to give it to me yet.
She
Not
didn't ask
yet,
for
but
her
I bet
barn. Well, they didn't ask for
anything
their
the
barn. Well.
universe is like, I know what it's going to be. It's just not the right time.
Not yet.
But
it certainly was not a
amazing,
well done barn, an overcooked barn. But I think, but I think too, like with John's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Your turn.
You go ahead. God damn it, Erin, go ahead. I'm kidding.
Fight.
I think, and the universe, I think we talked about this in a different episode. I can't remember which one, but the universe is going to push you into something. If you're not ready to take the step, then the universe is just going to shove you off the cliff, which is what it did for me when I was laid off from my mortgage job. I'd been in mortgage for 18 years and I was getting tired of it. I'd kind of like done everything I wanted to do. I didn't really want to go into a different like route as far as like underwriting or whatever. I didn't want to do that. And so they were like, okay, you're going to get laid off. You're not going to quit this job.
Right.
You hate it. So you're going to get laid off. So what did I do? Freaked out and immediately went and worked for a different branch with the same company. And the universe was like, okay, let's try it again. And laid me off again.
Right.
So finally
that's why we say
I was
healing's
like,
not
okay.
linear. Healing's not linear. Learning lessons isn't linear.
Yeah, it's not. And it's, it took doing that, like for the universe to be like, you are one dumb broad. Right. But for me to realize the immense gratitude I had for that, even though I was so distraught, like how could this company I worked for such a long time do this to me, when really I knew it was numbers. I'd been there for so long. I made a lot of money. Of course I was going to be one of the first to go.
Right. So, well, your soul wanted something different.
Exactly. And the universe was like, you hate it. You're miserable. You're not going to leave on your own. So we're going to force you to. So it's one of those things that it was sort of like I was grateful after the fact. And that's another kind of gratitude, that like something that you maybe think is unjust that was done to you, or something that maybe you thought was unfair, or you didn't deserve that, or what have you, you will find you're grateful for that thing later on. What Andrea is always saying, that the test always comes before the lesson. And that's one of those situations where the gratitude will show up.
It does,
as long as you're paying attention, as long as you're learning the lesson, 100%. Really,
Yeah. And paying attention is part of it. And I think that goes along with the being present that we talked about earlier. And exactly. If anybody has learned that lesson in the last year, it's those two.
It's those two. Yeah, for sure.
But again, I think in those two, in a situation like what they had to deal with between the fire and the YouTube stuff last year and all the shit that got tossed in their laps.
Right. Yeah.
They gave the internet a master class on how to handle shit with class and grace.
With grace. Yeah.
And
they absolutely did, because when I was their age,
I was an idiot.
I would have come out swinging, just. I would have had my respectability trashed, because like I said, ego Carrie, I had to cage that bitch. And she would not have handled it the way that they did. And it would have been a flaming train wreck. with no
Yeah.
survivors. It would have been really, really bad. But yes, they did give a master class in how to handle that kind of stuff with class and grace.
And there's your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Taught
And
us
I
who was
started just
really on
looking
our
for
side.
attention.
Yeah. Taught us to stand up for ourselves, taught us to be careful who we trust with the museum, etc. It's
Yeah.
and well, in this, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
But
Those
again,
kinds of like hard life things, they absolutely do give you a sense of humor that is just sharp as a tack.
yeah, well, because at this point, I mean, if you can't laugh, even if it's shitty, like what? I mean, you're gonna go nuts. Like if you don't, I mean, I know for us with our crew, like this has been a really hard year, and we've all had other stuff outside of what's been going on at the farm
Yeah.
to deal with personally, and
Sure. Right. I
to
mean, it's
try to
7
navigate
individual lives. Yeah.
that. And that's the thing, people forget that there are real humans behind this, and like, I mean, I noticed the other. I said this earlier. I even noticed the other day because I've had the benefit of living 1,200 miles away. Well, now I'm not that far, and I don't think she's
Mm,
going to show up. But I've started
yeah.
noticing if I catch because it gets dark here so freaking early. If I catch the white vehicle coming up the driveway, I'm running to the window because in my back of my brain, I'm like, oh shit, what if it's her? You know, there have been real psychological effects to this situation for all of us.
Yeah.
However, we have been able to stick together as a group. We just take shit as it happens. We make group decisions together. We handle it with humor amongst ourselves because otherwise,
Sure.
I mean, if we laugh to some degree. What else are we gonna? What else are we gonna do? Um,
And I think that you
and I
probably all have found a different way to be grateful for a myriad of different things. I would imagine that through the course of all of this last year, especially when everything went nuts in the beginning of the summer, I feel like you probably all found new ways of being grateful and new things to be grateful for that maybe
mhm,
you hadn't before. So it's one of those shifts in life, no
yeah,
matter what age you are that happens, because, you know, Cody and Satori she is much younger than we are.
yeah,
Cody is much younger than we are, but no matter what age you are in life, these are how do I want to word it? These are, help me out here, Erin. What am I trying to say?
Are you trying to think lessons? Are you thinking
Yeah, I'm trying to think like lessons, but these are like they're like bends in your journey. They're like
right bumps in the road, basically?
they're bumps in the road, but they're also like the path that your souls were always meant to take. But it's just because they are at the stage of life that they're at, because you are, because Reed is, because Steve, like
Right.
everybody is at a different stage of life, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You all
Yeah.
went this exact same direction.
Yeah.
I think you all brought something different to the table when it came
Gotcha.
to gratitude.
Yeah.
And yeah, so um it's not an easy thing to find gratitude in a situation like this.
No.
It's not, because a lot of the things that have happened, especially to Cody and Satori, um, have been very unfair.
Mm.
They've been very unfair. They've been
Yeah.
very cruel, unnecessarily cruel. And I think you all have
Yep.
experienced that. So yes, they did teach a master class in how to handle it with class and grace. And I think
Mm-hmm.
all 7 of you have as well, with the way that you're
Right.
handling the fallout from what's happened to the
Right.
farmhouse. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
from
think.
that, we are grateful to be able
Yeah.
to watch the way that things should be handled. Even
Yeah.
if we don't have it on such a scale, but in our own lives, I think we've all had a point where we have kind of been at odds with either
Mm-hmm.
friends or family or people at work, or,
Hmm.
where we could have taken the high road, maybe we didn't. Maybe we did, and we're
Yeah.
grateful for that. Maybe
Right.
maybe we took the low road and it ended up working out. None of my low roads ever worked out.
Always keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. The fire thing is also real, and I wasn't even there for the fire, but yeah, that's a thing too. Yeah. Oh, and then here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, because of all of this. And that's the other thing
Right.
too that I notice that I find I'm grateful for you guys is when people remember at the other side of this chaos, these lies, these grand gestures of I'm going to sue everybody under the sun and so told me it was okay or whatever the hell she's saying. People are so focused on what is coming out of her mouth and what she's spewing that they forget there are real people on the other side of this.
That are
And they're
receiving
all
that.
just like praying for her and this and that. And fine, that's fine. Okay, she's sick. Fine.
Right.
A lot of people are not doing this stuff, but okay. But a lot of people, they just forget that there are real human beings on the other side of this that are having to bear the brunt of her rage and her ire and her lies and things like that. So I find I'm very grateful when people, they just tell you guys, hey, you know what, this sucks and I'm sorry you're going through it. I find I'm grateful for people that recognize that there's very real faces on the other side of this, because most everybody is just waiting for the next meltdown to come from her.
To drop. Yeah. But I think, I think for, in this particular, since we're here, yep, that's a fact, Mom.
Yep,
we've seen
that's true.
a bit of that as
That's
well.
very true.
I think, but again, in this situation, as hard as it's been, and we've done the shows we've done, but we've done our best to, like you said, kind of take the high road, sort of, just not engage as much as we can. I mean, really, the only times we've engaged is if we've been sort of,
backed into a corner,
shit or whatever. But I think at the end of that, still, and I think about it every time a dumpster fire would happen with us, whether it was before we quit or after, I would hang up the phone or the video chat or stop texting or whatever it was. Because seriously, there were days when we were dealing with this 8, 10, 12 hours a day for weeks on end. And every time we were done for the day, I remember thinking, like, thank fucking God for these other people. Like, so grateful, because it's like the perfect mix of people at the perfect time. Everybody's got it, like you said, different ages, different skill sets, different opinions, different perspectives, different, but for some reason in this instance, 7 people were able to come together in an almost completely untenable situation that you're trying to keep out of the public eye.
Yeah.
And stick together.
Yes.
So the gratitude, I have a lot more. I mean, I'm annoyed. I'm angry. I'm over this shit. It's been and that's the thing the public forgets. This has been going on for us for over a year.
Over a year.
Kind of just, but I'm so grateful for those people.
Yeah. And how well you all came together, like you said, because it could have been very easy for any one of you or 2 of you or 3 of you or whoever to be like, fuck this shit. I'm going to light this bitch up and I'm going to, you know what I mean? It could have been very easy for any one of the 7 of you to completely go off on their own and try to like hit back. So, to get through the struggle together. Memes are the best way to do that. Honestly, Erin and I will send memes to each other either through text, on Messenger, Instagram, like we're constantly
Facebook. Yeah. I think same with the Tori. It's like, there's 3 conversations going on 3 different platforms on any given day.
Me and Jennifer,
but that's
Laura, it's the best.
That's the lesson too, I think, and on, for me, with making gratitude such a focus. But it's funny, it's such a focus, I don't even think about it anymore, because I have really, I think, made that a part of who I am. But the people, I mean, it's the people, it's the support system. It's you, Carrie, it's Ken, it's Andrea, it's Michelle, it's my 7 people, it's my parents, my sister, Justin. I mean, it's all these people that have come into my life over the last few years that I don't know how I functioned before without them.
Yeah.
But again,
it's been really a remarkable It's been a really remarkable meeting you just by happenstance. You know what I mean? And
over a hotel room in Vegas.
yeah, Joseph was saying that the paranormal family needs a get together. Yes, especially because it's very much an industry where everybody's in constant competition with each other. I know I've said this a bazillion times that every investigator wants to get that holy grail piece of evidence. So they're willing to kind of shit on another team or another investigator or whatever to be able to be that one person that can be like, all right, here it is. Here's the proof. And everybody in the scientific community is going to be like, oh my God, you're right. Thanks to you, you proved us all wrong. It's not going to happen, but everybody kind of is going after that rather than just trying to learn about the history. I know that I've talked about this on Ken and George's show that like, let's learn the history. Let's get the history right.
Yeah.
Let's get the stories of these lives correct. Let's, okay, so I caught a shadow walking across. Well, all right. That's kind of common. EVPs, those are common. Those are fun. Yeah, they're great to get, but
right.
What are we really researching?
Why are they here?
Are we researching, or are we just trying to get the next paranormal reality TV show? Is really what it seems like a lot of people are trying to do.
Then we need a group field trip up to Maine or down to North Carolina.
Yes. But
so we need to make
you guys can come to North Carolina now because I've seen Maine. You sent me that video this morning. We don't do Maine in December.
There's a certain organ that we need to playing organ that we need to pick up in Georgia. So maybe we'll make a field trip through North Carolina.
Ooh,
down to Georgia
yes.
Anyway.
That would be so fun.
But
I can't wait to meet you guys too. So it's just one of those things where as long as you are genuinely grateful for little things in your life, whether you are, flipping an egg and you're not breaking the yolk, or you get a good parking spot, or you just got up and brushed your teeth. Start to be grateful and you'll build. You'll build on that gratitude and you'll start to see other little things that you're grateful for. Like
it's all about those little shifts.
Yeah, it's all about those little shifts. Like seeing that the friends that you have are being treated well by perfect strangers in this crazy, whatever the heck we want to call it, that's happening around the farmhouse. You'll find,
but I think too on the other end,
things along that line.
Yeah, and I think too, like the paranormal has been a shit-tastic mess for a while now. But I think on the same time, like when you go to these events, whatever, it's a con or it's a investigation with some, there's that commonality, that common ground where it ends up like, I know when we went to New Jersey, when we were driving back from New Jersey, it was like that weekend was good for my soul, right? Like you skip.
I love those things.
Back. We were shoveling this morning
every day I'm shoveling.
This morning. That's a fact.
I can't help you shovel, Erin. My shoulder hurts. Sorry.
I put in 5 hours today shoveling and snow blowing. I'm like, Jesus Christ. She's a machine. But I think
grateful that he did it and you didn't have to.
Right. So I had to go to work. Otherwise I'd have stayed and helped. But I think, again, decisions, right? You get to make a choice. So for me, and if just using this field as an example, but really anything, could I choose to focus on the drama and the bullshit? Sure. Because God knows there's been no shortage of it. Or
facts.
Or I can go the other way and realize how lucky I am to get to do the things I do with the people that I get to do them with and learn from the people I get to learn from.
Yeah.
And that I get to grow as a person because the people in my life are constantly teaching me new things. So again, it comes down to choice. I could choose to be rage-filled, drama, angry, blah, 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 blah. Or I can choose to make the best out of a shitty situation and be grateful for the things that are good in that situation, regardless of what's going on, which is a point you made earlier.
And where does that choice come from in you? It sounds to me like it's coming from soul rather than it's coming from ego.
It's an inside job.
Yeah. So it's just sort of like, I love how we're just kind of building upon building in these episodes where learning to live from soul is very difficult. It's very difficult. Or move on. Yes. Yes, you can do that too.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There is so much more to focus on.
Right. And everybody, we're all doing different things. I mean, look at you. You got out of mortgage. You've started a skincare line. You've, embraced your ability. Like life, although has been difficult, getting out of it's like shedding skin. That's never easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shake the old shit off to let the new stuff come in. It's releasing old energy to bring in new. Like it's so much of I think of what we are learning and have learned is 99% your perspective, just like I think life is in general. It's how you choose to look at it. And if you decide to be angry at the world every day, then that's the energy you're putting out of the universe. It's what you're going to get back. You're going to
That
get
is exactly right. Yes. And that's like we talked about the reticular activating system. That's what you're telling your brain is important to you. Yep. Everything is fair. Nothing is going right. People don't understand me. This, that, and the other thing. Like if that's,
it's a choice.
It's a choice. And sometimes because you've made that choice so often, it no longer is a choice and it's just constant.
It's a loop.
So that's when it's really hard to break that cycle, but it can be done. It absolutely can be done. It does take, I really believe that it takes slowing down.
Yep.
Slowing down. And if you can't meditate, you can at the very least take a few deep breaths.
Yep.
In through your nose, hold for 5 seconds, out through your mouth until you just,
shake
that will actually slow down your blood pressure. Just
does that kind of breathing.
That kind of breathing will slow down your blood pressure. So just try that. Yep. And then kind of move on from there. Maybe that'll give you a little clarity of mind. Maybe while you're breathing, ask the universe for clarity of mind so that you can see how to attack what's going on or whatever situation that needs your attention. And then just take a minute to be grateful that you had the presence of mind to just know you needed to stop and take some breaths. It's not difficult to find something that you're grateful for and have gratitude for. It's not difficult to find those things every day. As long as you want to look for them. And that, I think, is another key thing, because sometimes it's very difficult for people who are suffering from severe depression or everything is just going wrong in their lives to want to try to find something they're grateful for. I know I've been there.
I have too.
I know I have
very much been there.
Yeah, especially in the last 2 years when everything went, off the rails with us losing our jobs and things like that. But every tiny little thing, there is always something that you can find to be grateful for in the day.
Yep, completely.
There is. If it's just it's hard, but you can do it. You can do it. And when you find that maybe you're struggling and you just cannot find anything to be grateful for, reach out to me. Reach out to Erin. You guys know how to get in touch with us. Reach out to us. I'll sit and talk with you.
Yeah. Or like my mom said, my mom used to always say, if you're in that headspace, you're having a really hard time, go help somebody else. Volunteer somewhere. There are other options, but it's like you said, it's getting to that place where you can make a different decision. And like when you're in the depths of depression and yes, she did. Totally made a healing spray for her cats.
I did.
And that is very difficult, but that's why it's important to start small, like you said. Start small. And it's still like you have to make a decision. Like the other thing, it's funny how much your parents, the things they say beat in your brain that they don't even think about you're even listening to, but it's like get mad, you can be upset.
Yeah, Jonathan.
You can't stay there. You can't stay there forever.
Yes, that is something that that my mom has always said to me, and something that I have always passed along My best friend, Jennifer, has had a very, very difficult last couple of years. She lost her grandmother. She lost her mother. She lost one of her cousins. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, yes, you need to grieve. You need to take a step back from all of this stuff, this loss, and sit with it. Feel it.
Have to.
Pay attention to it. But don't unpack and live there.
Exactly.
Don't unpack and live there.
You can't.
And it's hard. She works really hard to make sure that when it would be so easy to unpack and live there, she works really hard to make sure that she doesn't. And she finds those little bits of gratitude, and that helps her to not stay in one mindset for too long.
One headspace.
Yes, right. One headspace for too long.
Right.
But yeah, hit us up. You guys, like I said, you guys know how to find us. If you just want to chat something, you just want to kind of try to vent, work something out. That's what we're here for. That's what we started all this for. Certainly why we started the Facebook page. It, I think it's a safe space for all of us to go and, say, hey, you know what? I'm struggling with this one thing. And look at how the community has come together for those of us that have done that. That video that I had done about, giving a message to my friend's family, how hard I struggled with that. God, you guys just came to the rescue, and so much advice and understanding. And that was a huge moment of gratitude for me, that I had a place to go with stuff like that. So, and that's why Erin and I started this. It's important. Yeah, it's important. So
what's this one? Let's see.
What do we have here? Do we have questions?
I don't think we have any questions. Oh wait, no, we do. We have 5. My foster mom told me pity's like a pool. It's okay to dip your toes in, but if you jump in, you could drown. That's a really good way to look at it.
That is a really good. I like that one.
I like it. All right, questions. Let me look. All right. So Melissa, and I think these are mostly just comments, but let's go through these because these are important because we'll probably both learn something here as well. Okay.
Yes.
I hit the wrong button. I'm having a hard time trying to get the younger generation to deal with this. They're so buried in what they think is awful. You can't make them open their eyes. It's a hard lesson. But again, like we said, when I was Cody and Satori's age and younger than that, like I didn't know shit about shit. And I think you can't make somebody learn the lesson. They have to, everybody's journey is different. It's their own.
Yeah.
And I think half the time, I do think we should do a show on expectations because I think that's.
Ooh, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that idea.
Control, right? But yeah, she makes a good point. It's hard to deal with, but again, I think it's their journey. They have to kind of figure that out on their own. Coy
kind of drives me nuts with that too. Like, he kind of drives me nuts with that too. But at the same time, like, it is his lesson to learn. I can't force him to learn it. Like when I want him to learn it, we used to go round and round about how he's like, oh, I'm not going to get a job and get a career. I'm going to go to college and I'm going to become a YouTube star. And I was like, I think that would be great, sweetheart. But maybe you have a backup plan. Like, well, I can be paid to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. But what if?
Right.
For shits and giggles. What if you got a job until you made it as you know what I mean? Like one of those kind of things. You
can do both.
Like, sweetie, that's lightning in a bottle and it doesn't happen for everybody.
No.
So maybe you should have a backup. But I get it. Like they just seem to,
it's instant gratification is a thing.
It's instant gratification.
Which makes the patience for all this even harder because we're so used to like everything fast, right? All right, what's this one? Mary Beth. Gratitude equals the night after my daughter's house fire. Oh my gosh. When I got home from the hospital, I sat down on the side of my bed and said, thank you, God, for helping my daughter get my grandsons out of the house. Yeah.
God. Yeah.
That's insane.
That is,
and terrifying.
Yes. That is like throw myself at God's feet and sob in thanks.
Right?
That's,
100%.
for sure. Wow.
All right, Miss Betty Ann. Because I figure we'll go through these, see if anybody has questions, and then we'll get into
Okay.
funny meme and the
Fact or fake?
Factor faked. Yep. All right. So Miss Betty Ann says absolutely right. I just went through chemo.
Bless your heart.
Gratitude for lessons learned and stronger empathy, understanding, and love of life, no matter what life brings me. Love is all. That's a fact.
I love
Hope
to
you're
hear that.
doing well and feeling great. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yep.
If I could
am
sing, I'd sing a
so
song to you, but I
grateful
don't know
for
what
that
to
for
sing.
her. Yeah.
There's Cody when you need him. Cody. Okay. Can he sing for us? Okay. And then Jerry has 2 here. Jerry says, giving yourself grace. Whoop. Hit the wrong button. Giving yourself grace is huge. Forgiving yourself is often overlooked when trying to work on yourself. Fact.
It is. Yep. That is very true. That's something that I still struggle with. What I find myself saying to myself is I should have known better. And sometimes that's true, but not always. Like sometimes it's a new situation, or it's, and I get upset with myself and I say I should have known better.
Yeah.
Maybe, and sometimes that's true, like I said. And sometimes this is an off the wall, like one-off situation. How would you have known better? But it is
like the farm.
Something
Nobody handled us a manual on how to handle when.
Right. Wouldn't that be great if we could? Right? Maybe we should write one.
Right. Blind leading the blind. Just figure shit out. And you're right. I mean, you don't get in a test is always before the lesson every single time, as Andrew would say.
Every time.
All right. And Jerry.
Yep.
You and I had this conversation. Everyone in the community is suspicious of others in the field trying to be famous, and that's why it's hard for newbies to break it. Yeah.
It is, and it can be very off-putting. I know that he has had struggles with trying to get with different paranormal teams, and I think I saw, Jerry, that you had just decided to like form your own team. Correct me if I'm wrong, which I think is great. I really think that's great, because then you know what, you do it your way. Honestly, that's what Laura and I do. We're not really part of a team. We kind of, when we investigate, it's all for History of a Haunting. It's just, it's just her and I. We investigate with our friends. We go to wherever, and we just want to like have the experience. We want to learn things. And if we are investigating with folks that have new techniques, they teach us those. That's great too. But yeah, she and I are just pretty peachy keen on just her and I investigating for the podcast rather than be on a team, because that can get into a bunch of, that could be a sticky wicket too.
Love it. Sticky wicket. Woof. Yes. As we always say, right?
I'd love to, Jonathan. That'd be great.
Ooh, I hit the wrong button.
What happened?
I just went squirrely because I can't use the internet.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions? Did we? Zach.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach.
Teams can be difficult.
Teams can be difficult. That's true.
Yep. Okay. It's not hard to break. Oh, here, Ken says, it's not hard to break in. Go out there and get it done and let your best work speak for itself. And this is why I love Ken DaCosta, and I love getting to learn from him. And
me too.
Everybody. I mean, like we get to, like George on the show. I learned so much from watching these YouTube shows. Like Ken and George were one of the first ones I started watching, EVPE. I've learned a lot. And that's been super helpful. So I'm always so stoked to get to learn new things. And I think Ken just nailed that right on the head.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, since you mentioned EVPE, really sad that show is wrapping it up after, what was that, the 16th? Yeah, Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. They made the announcement today that they were wrapping it up, which bums me out. But it was a really good show. Learned a lot of stuff from their guests, and was honored to be a guest on that show many times. So. I know I'm not over that announcement quite yet either.
That is how I first learned about Cody and Satori, was watching them on EVPE.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, what, the French toast?
Yeah. I like that with the French toast.
So we don't have questions.
No
questions.
So Oh,
Dr.
good. We
Fate
broke
was a funny
everybody's
meme.
hearts by telling them about EVP. Sorry, guys.
Oh, sorry, dropped the bomb.
Whoopsie.
Which one do you want to do first? Funny meme or Dr. Fate?
Let's do silly meme.
Okay. I love this just as a sober person. I don't get to post about this kind of stuff.
I
very
know.
often, and
I
this was-
cackled when you sent it to me.
I was so excited. So this is our funny meme of the day. If my button will work. Did it pop up?
Yep. Gratitude is the wine for the soul. Go on, get drunk. I love it.
Yep. Can't drink alcohol. We can drink plenty of gratitude for sure.
You can drink plenty
All right.
of gratitude. I love it.
Can't drink alcohol. That gets me in trouble, but I can drink gratitude.
Right.
All right. Now, next move
Yep.
is going to be, oh, here we go,
Oh.
Melissa. The 9th and 16th will be their last shows.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got the dates on that. That's good.
Mhm.
All right. And our last segment of the evening is going to be this. Hopefully it's working. Is it working?
Okay. Fact or fate? I didn't write it down because I was like, I'll remember what it is. Actually,
Just
what it is that
kidding.
yeah, I know, right? Actually, what it is studies have shown that being grateful and showing gratitude toward things in your life can make you up to 15% happier in your life. Is that a fact or is that fate?
I didn't get the answer to this one, so I'm curious to see what people think. See if people pop in on that. I'm
What do
having
you
a
think
lag
it
on
is?
my internet, so if you happen to, huh?
What do you think it is?
Probably fact.
Fact?
I think it's
Okay.
fact.
It's one of them fact, true.
Joseph says it's one
It's
of
one
them.
of them. He's right. He wins. He's correct. It's one of them.
Oh my God. Jason says he thinks it's higher. Mary Beth says true. Sandy says fact. Jonathan, fact.
Melissa
Mary Beth
is
says
the
more than
Dead Air Street team trying to get new
15%.
people.
Also true. Plug
Also
for the
true.
Dead Air
That is
Patreon.
fact.
I like
it is fake.
It's fun.
Yes, it is fake. Jason and Mary Beth,
Is it
they
fake?
were correct. It is 25% higher. Yes, 25%.
All right.
25%.
All right. I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Calls are fun. And actually, we can. So after we went to the town hall meeting about the business license.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very rare time. Now, obviously, Corey and Jen couldn't get down, but it's a very rare feat where enough of us can even get together. Like I hadn't seen Reed since March, like my last week as caretaker.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that
Usually
kid.
it's just like on a video call.
Yeah. So when we got back, I went and stayed with Ken and Dawn because they're always nice enough to put me up. They're like my paranormal parents. They feed me and take me and the crazy dog in. And Cody and Satori came down. Well, that was
It sounds like they'll take in any riffraff.
They'll take any strays in. It's sad. Sorry, Ken and Dawn. They take me. Yeah, they'll take me in. But so town hall, we popped on because people had questions, and we were just a complete and total mess. So yes, the town halls are fun. The Patreon is amazing. Dead Air, lots of good stuff there. We also want to. You've got new stuff coming out on your product wise, right? Everything out for Christmas. So you have any deals going on? What's going on with?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of History of a Haunting. I was like, yeah, we do. I'm not sure when though. Yes. So we've got all of our holiday lines are out. So come and shop with us. We are actually changing our packaging. So we're going to start changing the packaging. We're changing that packaging, the lip scrubs. We're going to be having bigger lip scrubs. And oh, look at that. That's Janice and Jen. Gets topped with a jade crystal. That is Christmas in a jar, folks. I'm telling you what, I love that so much. That's Pop's Sugar Scrub. That's topped with a blue lace agate crystal. It's so pretty. I almost don't want to sell them. They're so pretty. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep these.
I know, right?
Yeah. We've got our body oils too. You can get them in shimmer and non-shimmer. So the non-shimmer have been pretty popular. So anyway, yes, our
Love it.
holiday line is coming up. We're getting ready to, we still have some of the fall line left. And we sold a lot of it when it was 70% off on Black Friday. So I think I'm going to permanently discount that for Hello Gorgeous. And then, yeah, so we're switching out our packaging and our prices are going to be changing. It's going to be to the benefit of you guys, the clients. I love you all so much. You are just the light of my life. Every time I see one of your orders come in, I'm always so happy. Well, you know what, Joseph, message me and then you and I can figure it out together. Let me know what she likes and we'll have a chat about it. Don't you worry.
And
We got all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Also, too, since we're plugging all the things, because we love getting to do that. And it was Small Business Saturday this last week. Also, don't forget about Satori's Etsy. I know she just did a drop not too long ago, so I don't know what's like her bigger pieces. They go pretty quickly, but check out her site, and it's handmade by Hawes. So I think it's etsy.com/handmade by Hawes.
Yes,
but message us if you need it. We can get you the link.
Well, you know what? We'll drop it in the
drop it in the group chat.
Yeah.
We'll also drop Amy's
Spirit Seeker Designs
jewelry, which I have a ton of her stuff, and you're partnering with both of them on the Advent calendar for this little light of mine. So we'll drop those links in there too. And then do we have anything else? I always forget to do the whole like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Yes, hit the notification bell, like, subscribe,
do all the things.
Do all the things, whatever it is that Simply Strange says, like in one breath. He's like, okay, bye. And I'm like, oh wait, I didn't hear any of that. Could you slow it down? What was that? So subscribe.
And then I think Cody and Satori are back next week. You know, obviously watch Dead Air on Sundays with Ken and George. Extremely Strange, which are great. He's got some new ones of those coming out. So watch all the things, buy all the things, support your friends.
Yeah. History of a Haunting. We're doing a live on Facebook and YouTube.
Nice.
It's an evidence reveal of our investigation at Sweet Springs Sanitarium. We're going to have Cindy Harper on to show her all of the evidence that we captured, and also to show Laura because she was unable to make it. But I need to get with Cindy and find out the date, and then we'll be posting it everywhere. But it'll be live probably on a Sunday night. It's Friday night. I can't remember.
I'm going to try to remember to post the Screw Humility thing on Fridays because I have been the worst at that.
Yes, Screw Humility Fridays. Maybe this Friday we do Gratitude Friday.
Love it.
Hey, I can do that.
We can do that.
I'm going to go into Toys Room right now and be like, subscribe.
Who's not on this already? Take care of this. And then Andrea is live tomorrow night. She's got she's doing Soul School with Jeff, and then she's got Monique too soon tomorrow as her guest on A World Awakening. So she'll be live tomorrow from 9 to 11. And I think that's
next week is Cody and Satori.
Yep.
And then we're the following week. And then yes. I only tune in just to hear Cody say CODs. CODs. It's so wonderful.
I love it.
I love them so much. They are so much fun.
I almost just fell out of my chair. Start tilting. I'm like,
do it. Okay. And then I'll be grateful for that because that'll be real funny.
Be feet. Yeah. Ass over tea kettles.
Your dog wouldn't even help. Is he laying on the couch?
No, he's actually on his bed next to the Christmas tree. He's just on the other side of the tree.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Thank you guys.
Yes, I'm grateful for a wonderful, yes, Zach. Hopefully you can be on the show. I'm hoping. I'm grateful for a wonderful show tonight, Erin. I always love doing these with you. I'm super excited that we get to do that. Live is so much fun. I love unscripted. We don't actually go too far off the rails, but we actually, Laura and I, because History of a Haunting is scripted, right? She does the history, I do the hauntings. So it's a scripted show, but man, we go out way more off the rails than you and I do on a live show that's unscripted.
Well,
Although
I think
that's really
just
just
sort of helps keep us on track too.
I think
we need as much help with that as we can get.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yes, thank you guys so very much. Grateful for all of you. For those of you who have questions about anything in the shop, message me directly and we'll have a conversation. We'll get y'all figured out. And Tom, hug that cute little puppy.
Baby. Yep.
Sandy, hug your little puppy. My mom wants us to get a fourth dog, and I'm like,
oh God, no.
I know.
So many pets.
She's tempting me. She's tempting me though. I know. Coy would shoot us. He's like, we are not ready for another dog. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful night. And instead of what do we call it? Suck it up. No.
Screw Humility Fridays. We'll do
Screw Humility Fridays. We're going to do Gratitude Friday this week. So
assuming we remember. I'll be grateful if we remember.
Same.
See y'all in 2 weeks.
Bye. Have a wonderful night.